This is Duck Show Studios, and today we're going to be reviewing Scooby Doo Return to Zombie Island. Now, when this was first talked about, I thought it would just be a remake, but it's a sequel. Warning, this video contains my opinions. You have been warned. Warning, this video also contains spoilers. You have been warned. So it takes place right after 13th Ghost, and Scooby, here's the drawing, there's Scooby, Shaggy, Velma. Scooby, and the gang are at the malt shop. The Mr. Machine been sold. Fred, ironically, because a lot of people really like Terror Time Again from the first Zombie Island. The song used for the chase scene in this one isn't all that great. It's more just, bland, generic. Sort of feels like something from Scooby Doo Where Are You, but even the songs from that are better. But the song that plays when Fred's having a fantasy sequence about the Mystery Machine is actually better than the chase song. It's actually quite like it. It's in my head now. So Fred's sad the Mystery Machine's gone. Mr. Gar Sheriff comes up and says to the gang that they should go on a vacation. They should have a lemonade stand, do kid things, and then they win a competition via Elvira to Moonscar Island. But when they get there, they say it's Moonstar, not Moonscar. And there's this really funny scene where Shaggy and Scooby get the rest of the gang to promise not to do any, mystery stuff. It says, and Shaggy says and he has this menu, and they're swearing on the menu, and he's like, instead of the Bible, and then he's saying his likes and his dudes and his mans, and then it's funny to hear Fred, Daphne, and Velma say like, dude, and man. That was funny. So they're like, oh, there's nothing mysterious here, and then a cat person cuts down the tree and stops the car, and Fred says, oh, this is a nice van, what's it called? The Van. And then they meet Alan, the hotel director, and they see many similarities to their Zombie Island encounter, and this is it contradicts the first Zombie Island, and not only that, even if you're not a fan of the first Zombie Island, it contradicts all of Scooby-Doo's timeline, like when they're older. Daphne was just doing a job placement at the TV station. She wasn't a reporter. Come on, Warner Brothers, you can give us much better stuff than that. And then Shaggy and Scooby go to get a massage. Fred thinks he sees the Mystery Machine. Daphne and Velma think there's mysterious things going on. At the massage, 2 zombies give them a massage. They run. Then they find out the zombies are fakes. They're just the actors. And Alan, the hotel director, is Alan Smithy, the film director, and he's voiced by Warren Stone from Rise of the Ninja Turtles. And then Alan Smithy says, "You're right, this is a movie! And I'm not Alan, the hotel owner. I'm Alan Smithy, the film director!" And then, so then the gang meet the actors. Then they say they can get out by the ferry, and Alan burns down the ferry, and he's like, "We have to finish the movie! We have to finish!" And some people have brought up he's never really punished for that, which is sort of strange. But it sort of makes sense in a way because of spoilers, which I'll mention later. So then they meet Saber, who looks almost exactly like Fred, and is voiced by the guy who does Cannonbolt and Thor. And when I first saw a picture of this character, I thought, oh, he's probably going to sound exactly like Fred. They're probably going to have whoever voices him doing a Frank Welker impression. Or he's going to sound nothing like Fred, but it's sort of an in-between. He doesn't sound like Fred, but he doesn't sound nothing like Fred. He just sounds his own voice. And he's Fred's stuntman for the movie, because Fred is the star, and Alan does not want anything to happen, and he has this giant monster truck, Mystery Machine, and Fred's like, can I drive it? um, yeah, and Saber's like, no. And then, um, uh, and then, so they film the movie, montage, um, cat people start attacking, and Velma, oh my goodness, she's the biggest problem with. Now, with as many as people have stated before, with 13's ghost, it's more understandable that she'd be more skeptical because she wasn't there. But with Zombie Island, she was there. She was with the zombies and cat people, and she's like, "Oh, the case wasn't quite solved. I think it's pretty solved. The cat people died, like they downright died at the end of Zombie Island." And the zombies all went to heaven. Maybe I'm not sure where they went, but so yeah, it's pretty much solved. But Velma's like, "Oh, I want to solve," and I just don't really like the way they portrayed her at all. There's another picture. It's sort of like a part of the DVD of the original Zombie Island. I just don't like, because she's just skeptical and wanting to prove that monsters are fake, and even though she's encountered real monsters several times, not just in Zombie Island, but in Witch's Ghost, please don't do a sequel to that one. Reluctant Werewolf, well, she wasn't there, never mind. Even in What's New Scooby Doo, there was an episode with the coral creature, and that was a real monster. And then in Shaggy's Showdown, there was a real monster, but of course, Velma didn't see it, only Shaggy and Scooby did. Like the real ghost of Dapper Jack, who just shows up at the end. So I just don't like that she's just like, "Oh, I've seen this before, but it can't be real." So that's one of the biggest problems. And then the cat people attack, and they resemble Jock, Lena, and Simone. I heard some people say they were different cat people, but in the trailer, they said, and I quote, "the same zombies and cats." So here, and when I get into spoilers, you'll know where I'm going with that. And so then the cat people attack. The fourth cat person just sort of goes off on his own and shows up from time to time. Fred saves the mystery machine. Oh, maybe that happened earlier. Maybe I got a bit muddled. Sorry if I did. So then Alan has this jump for the mystery machine. He says, "That'll be the climax of our movie!" And then the cat people are chasing them. They do jump the hotel. But then they find the pit where the original, well, the cat people died before. You know, they're back from the dead, supposedly. And then the gang put on zombie makeup and they scare the cat people into being trapped. The cat people are just the fairy guy and the two other characters that appear at the beginning and don't appear again. And then they find the treasure and Alan just takes it. Now, the fairy being burned, I see Alan not being punished because the fairy captain was one of the cat people, but the ferryman was one of the cat people! They were supposed to be real. They're supposed to be Simone, Lena, and Jock. And we saw, like, how could these, and like Velma says, "Oh, it was just these three the entire time." No, like, how could that happen? Because we saw Simone, Lena, and Jock turn into cat people in the original. We saw them die as cat people in the original. Like, they died. You saw the bones. You saw them deteriorate. And yeah, how? That's my biggest question. How could they be the same cat people? And then they say the zombies were swamp gas? Like, how? The cat people were so real. They were running and they tried to kill the gang. Like, drain their life force and turn them into zombies. They had voodoo dolls. Simone and Lena were ancient people who have survived for hundreds of years off the souls of the zombies they drain. I mean, the life force of the zombies they drain. Like, how? How could these three people, the fairy captain and the other two, be the cat people the entire time? How could they die and then come back? How? If they're not real cat people, how did they do that? How? How? As you can tell, the ending ruins the movie. Just that they're fake and they were fake the whole time. Like, I don't buy it. Like, how? And then the fourth cat person's real. Like, we do get a bit of fan service. Yay. which is nice, but it would be nicer if they were all real, because then it would make more sense, because how did they die and then come back? How? Anyways, this movie does have pretty great voice acting, because, you know, we got Frank Welker, Greg Griffin, Kate McCucci, and Matthew Lillard, and of course some of the others, well, all the others, like, cast does a great job with what they're given. The animation's gorgeous, as with all 2010 Scooby-Doo animated films. Well, with the exception of the Lego ones. You know, it's this gorgeous, detailed, hand-drawn. This is probably, I'd rank it as the weakest and worst animated Scooby-Doo movie of the decade. The worst is still Curse of the Lake Monster, in my opinion, but animated, it's this one. 7 out of 10. It had some great scenes and great comedy, great animation and voice acting. Great up until the point when the monsters are fake, like, even... Yeah. The minimum of good. This is like Monkey Palace, almost. Well, I don't know. Thomas and the Monkey Palace, maybe I'd say that's... Well, that's worse, but 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching.